Hi everyone, welcome along to the Game Extra. Thanks to Macca's Mark Reddings alongside Craig O'Donoghue from the West Australian as we recap the weekend's action. A win for the Eagles, a loss for the Dockers. Fremantle, their season's done, everyone's saying, but Craig, they're only half a game outside the 8.
It's crazy, isn't it? A team is going to make the finals this year, and you'd say that they're not going to really deserve it with the way the ladder is looking at the moment. And all these teams around that 8th position are struggling to grab all of their opportunities. We saw Essendon go out yesterday, GWS go back up, but Fremantle lost to Sydney, and their injuries are their real concern. Nat Fyfe, dislocated shoulder again, so multiple times this year now, preparing to go in for surgery. Michael Walters out with a hamstring injury. Don't expect to see him again, at least until the last round. Alex Pearce could miss this weekend with a concussion. They're still working through whether or not he has concussion or just got a head knock. And then they lost Stephen Hill in the waffle also. So it's been a rough couple of weeks for them, a rough season again for Nat Fyfe, where injuries and big injuries keep happening to him. It's sad not that we can't see him at his best for an entire season.
Yes, put away, you'd think, until 2022. They led by 17 points, Fremantle, against the Swans, but they didn't kick a goal for a quarter and a half. In the end, a damning stat about the inside 50 tackling pressure.
28-2. 28 tackles inside 50 from Sydney, 2 to Fremantle. You can't win games of footy without forward pressure. We know that in the modern game, and Sydney just swarmed them, and Fremantle couldn't keep up, and they couldn't keep the ball inside 50, and it bounced right out, and Sydney just ran away with that game and won by 40 points. They haven't had the ability to pick the same players week in, week out, Fremantle, and that's cost them with their synergy and teamwork and having the right tools there to get the ball on the ground. It just hasn't worked for them all year, and it's just becoming a trend that we're not seeing the best Fremantle players out there for long enough.
And kudos to the Sydney Swans. They are a team in form and they could do some damage in September. As for the West Coast Eagles, Saturday afternoon, 43,000 fans there. Good game of footy. They had St Kilda on toast at half-time, but the Saints came back, had a big bloke up forward called Max King who kicked 6, and what a pleasure to watch.
6 goals, 8 contested marks. We hadn't seen that by anyone in the game for more than 15 years. And ironically, the last bloke to do it was Matthew Lloyd, who taught him at Haileybury. So it's amazing to see someone performing like that. West Coast would have a few concerns about how their backline looks going forward with Tom Barrass out. They tried Jeremy McGovern in the ruck at different stages, swung Oscar Allen back. Harry Edwards was then playing on a bigger role. So they'll be looking to work out what their best defensive structure is at the moment, and hope that next time they try to spoil the ball a little bit more rather than trying to outmark Max King. There were some good signs, though, from West Coast in the midfield, especially with Elliot Yeo. Probably his best game back since we've seen him recovering from osteitis pubis with his clearances. Tim Kelly kicked a goal, had plenty of the ball. Dom Sheed kicked 2 in the last quarter, had plenty of the ball also. So there's some good signs there for them. They just need to stop losing blokes. And with the injuries they've had, they lost Liam Ryan on the weekend as well. So they just need to try to get their best players out there, a bit like Fremantle. Get your best players out there and you'll perform a lot better.
So the Eagles inside the 8th, 7th position at this stage. Hard to see them doing too much damage in September, but they are starting to build 2 wins in a row. They've got the Magpies this week, set down for the MCG. Craig, the AFL yet to confirm times and dates for this weekend. We think the Tigers will play Fremantle on a Sunday here. Both of those teams in quarantine as we speak. The Eagles-Collingwood game, where will that be played?
You'd think it would be the MCG or Marvel, one of those two. You'd think it would be in Victoria. It doesn't make a lot of sense to fly Collingwood out of Victoria and fly West Coast out of Victoria out to another state also. So rather than having 2 teams on a plane, you just send the one. You can't see Collingwood coming here. So it makes sense to leave Collingwood in Melbourne, send West Coast over there and then deal with the quarantine issues afterwards, because Collingwood would have to quarantine if they came here anyway, and we know that regardless of where anyone goes at the moment from Perth, you're quarantining when you come back. So the challenge for West Coast is to get this one done against the team they should beat, and then come back and then really launch for those last few games of the season.
Yes, the COVID chaos continues in the AFL, but we are getting there this season. We're ticking those games off until we hit September and then the final series. Where will that be played? Nobody knows. Great work from you, Craig O'Donoghue. Thanks for your company on The Game Extra. Thanks to our great friends and supporters at Macca's. We'll catch you next week.